Hi, Jerry here with Subaru Crosstrek. Today we are going to be installing a trailer wiring harness and a wiring harness plug adapter on the Crosstrek. So the two that I've chosen are the CURT 56040. That's the wiring harness kit. Comes with the wiring harness and some cable ties and a fuse. And this is another item I found. It's a CURT 58404, and it's a male to female adapter. And basically what this is going to do is, instead of having a pigtail hang down from the back, the four-pole connector trailer pigtail hang down from the back of the car dangling, I'm going to install this into the rear bumper fascia, and the actual trailer harness is going to plug into this, and this will be on the outside of the car, so that's where I'll plug my trailer into it. I think it's a cleaner, neater look rather than digging underneath for a pigtail that's hanging down. So the Crosstrek has a harness connector already in it, trailer connector. So all we have to do is get to that and then route this wire out the back and drill a hole in the bumper. It'll be a 1 1/8 inch hole saw hole in the rear bumper fascia, and mount this and plug everything in. Should be an easy install. So let's get to it. Popped right out. So behind this panel is the trailer wire connector. That's where we'll be plugging in the harness. Behind this rubber plug right here is where I'm gonna run the wires out through here, right down to the trailer hitch, and just cut a slit in this plug for the wires, and then I'll RTV it up a little bit. So a couple more things I want to point out before I get started installing this. So this harness is going to need a ground connection, and it just so happens that behind this panel where the plug is for this harness, there is a threaded bolt hold which holds an M6 size metric bolt, which is a 10mm wrench size, and that is the perfect size. Here's my M6 bolt that goes through this to make a ground. So what I'm going to be doing is using that and that little bolt hole. I don't know if you can see that with the camera, but also the harness, the 4-pin connector that I'm feeding out to go outside the car, that's going to plug into my bumper connector. It was a little bit too big to get through this hole, so what I did is I took some diagonal pliers and I trimmed off the edges. It didn't get into the wire, so it didn't hurt the integrity of the plug at all. So now I can actually get it through that hole. So it was a little big to get through the hole. And the last thing is this wiring harness box. I put some double sticky tape on it. I'm going to be sticking that behind the panel onto the floor of the car over in this area, just so it doesn't rattle around, and routing the wires from there. The kit does come with a fuse to install in this inline fuse receptacle here. So I'm going to install that, and that will all stay behind the panel. Now I just need to scrape a little bit of paint off around that screw hole for a ground connection. All right. All right. So this is ready to put back together. So I'm going to take some black RTV and seal this wire on here a little bit. So now I have my 4-pole connector hanging down from the rear of the car. Everything's plugged in the front, or inside the car. I'm just going to drill a hole in my bumper fascia right about here, and that's where I'm going to exit this piece out. And then this will just plug into it from behind, and then I'll just cable tie up all the loose wires to the actual hitch bar itself underneath. So that's what's next. That was easy. I'll just deburr this a little bit. Yeah, I've put just a tiny bit of black RTV on this, just to kind of hold it in place, just around the edge on each side. And I'm going to go ahead and plug it in. And it's in. I'm going to wipe off that RTV, my rag. So this cover will sit on it once in place, and that's what it'll look like on the back of the Crosstrek. I like it. So now it's just a matter of taking this plug and plugging it into the back of this and cable tying up the excess wire to the bottom.